Good morning. Welcome to my thought for the day. We are in Luke chapter 2, verse 21 and 22. Just trying to get in order the events of the early life of Jesus. We have our nativity cribs and we have our 12 days after Christmas observation, and on the 6th of January we remember the coming of the wise men to the stable. And of course that doing it like that means that we can have all those events in one place. But in fact the wise men, if you read Matthew 2, did not come to the stable. They came to the house, and they came to see the young child and Mary his mother. The Greek word is quite different. It's not baby, it is young child. And it quite clearly says that Herod ascertained from them what time the star appeared, and as a result of that, when they didn't return to him to tell him where the child was, he killed all the young children, all the boys aged 2 years old and under. So it seems that the star appeared roughly 2 years, or just less than 2 years, maybe 18 months, 20 months before the Magi arrived in Jerusalem. They travelled a long way. But in that 18 months to 2 years, several things happened, and they are recorded in Luke. Luke chapter 2, verse 21. At the end of 8 days, that is 8 days after the baby was born, when he was circumcised, he was called Jesus. So they gave him, this was the way they did it. They do it in Jewish society now. The name is given when the first 8 days are completed and the child is circumcised. And he was circumcised according to the law and given the name Jesus, the name which the angel had given before he was conceived in the womb. Jesus was brought up as an observant Jew. He observed the rules of the law until he could set up the new covenant. He was obedient to the law. After all, he'd given it to his own people, hadn't he? And then it says, and when the time came for their purification according to the law of Moses, they brought him up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. And that's observing something that's written in Leviticus 12, 2-6, which was that the woman, when she'd had her baby, after 7 days, she would go and see to the circumcision of the child at the end of 8 days, and then there'd be another 33 days when she would not mix with anybody at all, the period of time when she was unclean as a result of having been delivered of a child. And during that period, that 33 days, there would be no marriage relationship, and it would be the period when, of course, the lady was still bleeding as a result of the birth. These were the laws that were given to the people. And also they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord, because it is written in the law of the Lord, every male that opens the womb shall be called holy to the Lord. This is because of what happened in the Passover when God freed his people from Egypt. That terrible night when they all ate a lamb, and the blood of the lamb was on the doorposts and on the lintel, and the angel of the Lord did not kill the firstborn of all the people of Israel, but killed the firstborn of cattle and of the house of every home in Egypt. But technically, or as the Lord saw it, the first child of every family belonged to him, because he'd made the choice not to kill them. They were dedicated, and so they had to redeem him, and they had to take an offering to the temple in Jerusalem at the end of those 40 days, the 7 days circumcision and then 33 days. At the end of those days, they travelled to Jerusalem, which wasn't very far away from Bethlehem, to bring an offering to redeem the baby Jesus, because he was the first child born to that woman, to Mary. So this is you know, this is very interesting to know that there were certain things that was part of your culture and part of the way you'd been taught to live, and the way that God taught his people to observe life. And it shows that Mary and Joseph were faithful Jewish people, faithful Israelites, or Judaites, or, you know, what, children of Israel. They were faithful. This was not new. This was the way they lived their lives. They lived their lives recognizing God in every aspect of life. In every aspect of life, they obeyed the rules that God had set down, and they followed him faithfully. And Joseph and Mary did these things for Jesus. And there was no fuss or anything about it. But we will see tomorrow that what happened when they went into the temple. There was another recognition of who Jesus is and was. So for those 40 days, Mary and Joseph must have found somewhere else to live in Bethlehem. The furore, the rushing around for the census would have been over, and most people would have gone home after being registered, would have gone home to their hometowns, and there would have been somewhere for Joseph and Mary to live. And I don't doubt that Joseph mended some chairs and tables and carved out some doors and did all sorts of odd jobs to keep Mary and the baby fed and looked after while she was recovering from the birth. There is nothing to suggest that the birth of Jesus was easy for Mary, that it was different, that somehow she didn't go through what most women go through in childbirth. No, it was a normal birth. The extraordinary thing was hidden. I don't think even Mary would have seen a halo round the head of this baby that she cared for. And this baby had to be fed, had to be cleaned, had to have his nappy changed, had to be looked after. He was completely and utterly helpless. For many years, helpless. This is God submitting himself to what life as a human being is really like. And praise his name that he did it. It's incredible to think that God was held in that tiny baby. Mary must have wondered a lot. But anyway, my time is up. There's so much to say, isn't there? God bless you today. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.